What do you think of when you think of the early noughties? Pop Idol, Trini and Susanna, Love Actually, the Iraq War. For me personally, it's the turkey Twizzler snatcher that was Jamie Oliver. Disclaimer, I like Jamie, and I don't doubt his good intentions. His 30-minute meals and other shows have got people cooking. They're useful. They help people out, giving them tips and trips while letting them make their own decisions. But this week, the nutritional Stalinist Jamie of 2005 has made a return. Children should be fed by the state, and it should be funded by the sugar tax, he solemnly declared. I used to quite like the idea of a sugar tax. I was so worried about childhood obesity that I thought, wouldn't it be marvellous if the government taxed cakes, donuts, custard creams and Monster Munch? And then we'd see our children no longer threatened with diabetes before they were even out of their short trousers. But it's prohibition. And we have learnt lessons about prohibition. Those who want to indulge will still find a way. We want to be slim more than we want to win the lottery, and yet 2/3 of us really aren't. There's something about these foods that makes them irresistible and addictive. We want to eat them, and we want to eat more of them. But why? As a cook and nutritionist, I know that nature keeps carbs and fat largely separate. We have fats and proteins in meat, fish, eggs and dairy, and we have carbs in fruit, veg, grains and legumes. Nuts are the rare food that have fat, protein and carbohydrate in for good measure. But you know as well as I do, if over Christmas you were standing near the nut bowl, could you stop eating them? They're just irresistible and moreish, and you just can't stop consuming them. Well, the food companies know this. They know that the bliss point of any processed food is the perfect balance of fat and carbohydrate. We are evolutionarily wired to jump at the opportunity to eat such things as they are so rare in nature. So, what did the big food people do? They made ice cream, biscuits, cakes, crisps, and so on, all perfectly engineered to irresistibly be addictive, so you can't stop eating them. So you'd think that it would make sense to keep the producers of these things away from any form of nutritional advice. Damn right we should. But you would not believe it if I told you that Public Health England, now the somewhat more sinisterly named UK Health Security Agency, appointed a panel of processed food industry reps to create the UK Eat Well Guide, a kind of nutritional know-how. In March 2016, the UK Eat Well plate became the UK Eat Well Guide. The reason was they had to rebrand it because it was pointed out on Radio 4, no less, that someone had included a full-fat Coca-Cola in the first one. Can you imagine that? 11 panel members designed these guides, and these panel members basically constitute the who's who of what I call the fake food industry. They include representatives from the British Retail Consortium, the Food and Drink Federation, the Association of Convenience Stores, the Institute of Grocery Distribution and the British Nutrition Foundation. Don't listen to that head title, it's not what it says. Seriously, you couldn't make it up. It gets worse. This Eat Well Guide, which the brilliant Dr. Zoe Harcombe has renamed the Eat Badly Guide, is embedded in our school curriculum. One of the core components of the guide is that by age 7, children should be aware of all that they need in a balanced diet. They need to know that a diet is varied, to grow, to be active and to maintain health, and that we need to eat more of some foods and others and less of others, as depicted in the Eat Well plate. In other words, by age 7, children should be eating what the Eat Well plate or big processed food manufacturers are telling them to eat. Are you furious yet? Because I am. So again, I like Jamie Oliver and I know he means well, but there's a bigger priority than free school meals. And unfortunately, these free school meals will likely have been designed by these people who don't have our children's best interests at heart. At school and at home, our diet advice has been hijacked, and we wonder why so many people look overweight and unwell. Eggs are better for us for breakfast than sugary cereals, but Kellogg's and Weetabix, they won't tell us that. Why do they so little? Why do they do so little? Well, it's simple. They don't want to offend big business. Life BC before COVID, I was a sugar tax supporter. AC after COVID, I am not. The government overreached so far and controlled us so completely in a way that was previously unimaginable. I just don't trust them. Not just this present government, but any government. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They took absolute power and abused it, and they are showing no signs of backing down with their 15-minute cities and let them eat insects and more of that nonsense. They need to remember that they work for us. We are not here to be told what to do. Enough is enough. How are people supposed to take control of their lives and nutrition if the advice itself is so corrupted? So free school meals may not be the worst idea in the world, though nothing is free. But far more important is the processed food industry bigwigs the hell away from our children and get public services the hell away from us adults while they're at it. Let's get back to basics and teach our children how to cook delicious and nutritious meals that will set them up for life. If you'd like to know more about what's going on and how to eat well, I recommend you look at the work of Dr. Zoe Harcombe. I have learnt much from her.